Good evening, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. If you are watching this on replay, where's my little widget? There it is. Then just let me know, because the chances are you've seen right from the start. But those people coming on live aren't here yet. So they're not going to see the banner, so I'll turn it off. How are you? Are you well? If you are here live, hi, Lucy. Hello, lovely. Yes, if you're here live, do say hello. I'm coming to you via StreamYard, which means that unless you give it permission to use your name, this end I see Facebook user, but it really doesn't matter. It's nice that you say hello. You can put your name in the comments if you can't be bothered with the faffing about. And I must admit, I'm a bit that way inclined myself sometimes. But yeah, do say hello. What are you all up to? Are you all well? I hope you are. I've been busy at my computer all day today. Must be said, I've been doing all sorts of things, website techie kind of things, which blow my mind, because I'm got just about enough knowledge to be able to do it, you know. And if anything went slightly wrong, I'd be stuck. But I managed it so far. It's one of those things. It's one of those things where if you need a little bit more knowledge, you have to do hours and hours of sort of training and research and all sorts of things. And I just haven't got time for that. But still, we do what we can do, don't we? Oh, a nice heart. Thank you. That's very nice of you. So yes, so do say hello if you're here. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed to my YouTube channel. Woohoo! Here I am, Annie Bennett, the home baking business specialist. My highly high-tech board behind me. I do want to change the URL on my YouTube channel. And YouTube says that once I've got hello, the baking duck. That's a fabulous name. YouTube assures me that once I get to 100 subscribers, I can change, the URL, the little address thing. So instead of all those numbers and letters, you can actually put your own name in. So I went on today after having reached 103 when I woke up this morning or thereabouts. I went on and it's not letting me. And then when I went to the help button, there's loads of people that said, I've waited 3 weeks to customize my, I'm thinking, oh dear, I won't hold my breath then. Hi, Kim. Hello. Oh, good. I'm glad you look forward to it. I look forward to them too. I love doing these. Yeah, so eventually I will get a customized YouTube address. But if you want to go to YouTube and just put that in, Annie Bennett, the home baking business specialist, you will find me. You will find me. There's a handful of previous Wednesday waffles up there at the moment, just so you can have a look. But I'm going to be scheduling a whole load of bits and bobs, some little ones and some longer ones as well to pop in there. So if you subscribe, you'll get notified of all those, and you'll be able to watch all those. So it's all very exciting. I do love a bit of new things and a bit of a challenge. So my challenge on Sunday, because I've had this channel for ages, because I put all my courses and membership videos on there, but they're sort of hidden, so not everyone can see them. So I've had the channel for ages, but I decided, when I was planning this year, that I would actually go for it and do it properly. So first thing on Sunday, I think I had 17 subscribers. And of course, I sent the email out and I put the post in the group. And now I've got 123, which I'm hooray. So my next target is 200. I'm seeing how quickly I can get to 200 now. That's the next goal. Always have a target, always challenge yourselves. Anyway, right, let's get on with the business of the day. Hi, Alex. Excellent. You can hear. That's good. Yes, I don't quite know what happened at our training last night, but you can hear now, so that's fabulous. Yes, we're having a think about pricing again. There will be a blog post that goes with it, but it's not quite ready yet. I need to put a few more links and things in, so that will come in tomorrow morning. But we're going to have a think about pricing. Pricing is really one of the most difficult things when you start a business, when you start any business, really. Is knowing how and what level to price what you do. And there's two sides to it, really. I think the first sort of side is the sort of mindset and attitude, not bad attitude, but your attitude towards it. There's that side of it. And then, of course, there's the nuts and bolts and the figures and what you add up and all that kind of stuff. So there's that side of it as well. So when you're thinking about, the mindset of pricing, how you sort of go about doing it, there's certain things I think that you've got to think about, and certain things you've got to do, and certain things you shouldn't really do. Okay. And one of the things, or one of the main things really, is that you've got to price accurately. You've got to spend time, give yourself time to actually sit down and price up things accurately. As a business, that's exactly what you've got to do. Just sort of plucking figures out the air, that sounds about right, or asking someone else what they would price it at. We do get a lot of these in the group, and I do try, if I see them, I do try and sort of guide people to, how to do it accurately. Because if you're just taking a figure that someone else has given you, it may be that you're making very little profit on that. And at the end of the day, we're a business. We've got to make profit. That's what we're here for at the end of the day. So I'm talking very much from a business point of view. So yes, sometimes when you're a bit unconfident and you're starting out, is this sort of the right ballpark? Yeah, okay. If it gives you confidence, then by all means ask. But to ask, what shall I price it at, and just take an average of the numbers that people give you, that's long term, that's really not going to do you any favors. You've really got to sit down and work it all out. In a minute, I'll give you some hints as to how you can do that. Okay. And secondly, so I'm reading from my blog notes here. Don't compare your prices to others. Sort of what I said just now. Your costs, your ingredients might be similar, but your other costs might not be. The time that you take for things, the time that you charge, or time that you cost for your hours might not be the same as someone else. So don't compare your prices to others. You might have a completely different product. You might be aiming at a different type of customer. Okay. So my wedding cakes are going to be priced very differently to Harrods wedding cakes, for example. I'm not going to go to Harrods and go, oh gosh, they've charged £2,000 for that cake. Perhaps I should up my prices, because we're dealing with completely different customers. So to go onto other people's websites or Facebook or whatever and say, oh, they're charging that for that, whether it's lower or higher than you would want to price yours at, they might be dealing with completely different customers. So think about the kind of customer that you are aiming at. And I'm always talking about this, the fact that there's Lidl and there's Harrods, there's Waitrose sort of in the middle-ish, and then there's Tesco's, and they all come sort of on a spectrum of sort of economy and budget, right up to breathtaking and gasp. And everybody will have customers that are on that spectrum somewhere. So the person down the road to you that is charging X, they might have, I don't know, Tesco customers, where you've got Waitrose customers. It's just sort of an easy way of looking at it. Are you buffering? Oh no. Are you buffering? Is anyone else having problems? It's not my internet, is it? I'm not having any issues this end. And I'm not sure if there's anything I can do about it. But is anyone else having an issue? Hopefully the recording. Oh, it's fine for Jenny. Oh, sorry, Facebook user. I think it must be just you, my love. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. Oh, good. You're all okay. The recording should be fine though. So if it's annoyingly buffering you, come back to the recording. Hello, everybody, though. It's made everyone say hello. So what was I saying? Yeah, so we were talking about the sort of the supermarket spectrum, weren't we? So think about, you know, the kind of customers that you want to attract or you are attracting, and don't compare yourself to someone else who might be placing their customers in a different place on your on that spectrum. Okay. This is the third one, is one that some people find very difficult, and that is attaching the appropriate worth to your skills, charging what you are worth. Some people find that very difficult, particularly when they start businesses, because there's that, and I had this as well, and I'm sure a lot of you, this will resonate with a lot of you. There's that, oh, I'm only new, I haven't been doing it long, who do I think I am, having a business? Everyone else has been doing it far longer than me, I can't possibly charge that much for my goods. There's that mindset, isn't there, of, oh, I'm only new, I can't possibly charge this amount. But you've got to get over that, because you're a business, you're a new business, or you're a business, whether you're new or not, and you're here to make money, and look at it from a business owner point of view, not from, you know, I don't look at it from Annie's point of view, I look at it from the owner of my business's point of view, and as such, I'm responsible for this business making a profit. You have, Jenny, yes, good. The message needs to be strong and firm. Well done. So make sure that you are charging your time for making whatever it is you're making, and don't please charge less than the minimum wage. Please don't, you know, do yourself that sort of disrespect of only paying yourself $5 an hour or something like that. You are worth far more than that. Okay. So make sure you charge that worth, because you are worth it. However long your business has been going, however experienced you are providing a bespoke service. Yeah, you're not in a factory churning out the same old rubbish. I say rubbish. We were like a Tesco mini roll, don't we? But anyway, you know what I mean. You're making a bespoke product. You're putting yourself into that product. So make sure you charge your worth, at least £10 an hour, at least. Hopefully more. I mean, I tend to charge around 15 an hour for sort of the basic stuff. But when it comes to skilled stuff, which is actually probably most of it, you know, the actual baking is probably 15 an hour, but, you know, covering with fondant, buttercreaming, making a smooth finish, royal icing, sugar flowers, all that, £25 to £30 an hour, sometimes even more than that. Because I know I've been, you know, I've got a skill that I'm using, and you're not just charging for that hour, you are charging for all those hours that you spent learning how to do that. Alice, I mainly do brownies and cookie bars. How much do you charge for those, including? I'll come on to how you can work it out. Okay, I don't make them anymore. I used to on market stalls, but I don't anymore. So it's go through the process that I'm describing to you. Okay, and then you will come up with a price for your brownies and your cookie bars. Okay, so for actually baking them, don't cost it at less than £10 an hour by any means, because you know how you know the recipes that you've got, the skills that you have in making them, knowing how long they need to be in the oven, all that kind of stuff is a skill. So make sure you charge for that. Okay. And I've already talked about, you know, the little Harrods thing. Different people. Hi, who's that late? I haven't got a name here, but hello. Don't be tempted to change your price because you think, oh, that's too expensive. No one will buy that. You never know. The number of people that I see and who speak to me and say, I gave a quote, but they didn't come back to me because it must have been too much or it was too expensive. You know, unless the person has said this is too expensive. And in that case, it's only too expensive for that one customer. I give out, you know, as wedding cake person, I give out quite a few quotes. I don't expect them all to come back at all, you know. And the ones that don't, it may be that I'm too expensive. Actually, it might be that I'm too cheap. People that want to be spending more on their cake. It's weird, but it's true. There might be all sorts of reasons why someone doesn't come back to you after you've quoted them. All sorts of reasons. But don't assume that it's because you're too expensive. Okay. Don't get into that trap of, oh, I must be too expensive, I must bring my prices down, because there's so many reasons why. Think about it, if it's the other way around and you ask for quotes for bits and pieces, you know, it's not always going to be because someone's too expensive. It might be that you've decided to get something else instead of a cake or whatever it is you're buying. It might be that, you know, there's illness in the family, so you can't have the celebration that you wanted. There might be all sorts of reasons. Okay. And not everybody, you know, because you're a business, you're treated more as a business in that a lot of people just won't come back to you. They won't reply. Some people do have the, you know, have the respect, if you like, to come back and say, oh no, sorry, we won't take you up on that, we're going elsewhere. And I think fair enough, you know, nothing wrong with that at all. But not everyone will. So don't assume that you're too expensive if you don't get the booking. Okay. Stick to your guns. Oh gosh, I'm blowing now. I say that all the time, actually. Stick to your guns. Because at the end of the day, you're running your business. You're the, you know, the CEO of your business. You are responsible for that business making a profit at the end of the day. So remember that, have that in your head. I run this business. I'm responsible for it making a profit. Okay. So once you've sorted out the mindset and you've got and you feel comfortable with the pricing, you know, that with putting a price that you have worked out for your goods, and you're confident that that's about right. Okay. How you actually do it involves maths, basically. If you're not confident with maths, and I know lots of people aren't, things like Excel spreadsheets are brilliant because they can do all the working out for you. You just sort of know, you can just sort of multiply this cell by this cell and it'll equal it, or divide it, or whatever it is. So, you know, get a spreadsheet up and going. But whatever it is you're selling, you need to work it out, you know, bit by bit. So the ingredients. Now, the mistake that some people make is they say, oh, I had this cake to make. I went out to Tesco's and all the ingredients came to £15. So that's the ingredients of that cake. But actually, those ingredients that you bought, you didn't use all of that ingredient for that cake, did you? So if you buy a 1.5 gram pack of flour, you're not going to use all that flour for the cake. You're going to use, you know, half of it, quarter of it, depending on, you know, the size of the cake. So you must make sure that you only price that part of that £1.50 or whatever it is that the bag of flour costs. Okay, and similarly with the other bits and pieces. So a big tub of stalk, you're only going to use a tenth of it, quarter of it, however much. Okay, and that you must just work out the price of that. You mustn't put the price of the whole thing in. Okay. So you do that with the ingredients. So you work out your ingredients, and then of course you've got all the fairly obvious things to price up. Things like, you know, if it's cupcakes, it's cases, boxes to put them in, foil trays that you bake them in, cake boxes, boards, ribbons around the whatever, you know, sprinkles, all those types of things. Add those up, total those up, and then you've got to add on the slightly trickier things, haven't you, which is electricity or gas, your power. You can work out exactly how much oven, how much your oven costs. You can find out what the power is of your oven. You can Google that, Google the make, and it'll tell you. Find out how much it costs, what you're paying for your electricity or your gas, whatever your oven uses. And then you can work out, if my oven was on for half an hour, it costs this much. Okay. As a sort of an average, I know I'm sort of going against what I just said, but oven costs are around 35p an hour. Some might be sort of 25, 30, some might be 40, 45, but they're around 35p an hour. So if you find it difficult to get the exact cost, that's going to be about right for your oven. Okay. Don't forget things like covering the costs of your insurance, covering the costs of any admin, any printing that you've done. If you're using things like the internet, you've got to include a price for your overheads, and that really depends on how many bakes you do, what things are costing. I add on, depending on what it is, I'll add on a set amount to cover that kind of thing per cake. Okay. You can do it more accurately than that, but just make sure you put in an amount and you'll cover yourself for there. What else have I got on my list here? Yeah, your time. We've talked about time. Put in your time. No less than £10 an hour. Should really be sort of nearer the 15, 20 mark, or more if you're doing sort of really skilled decorating of your cakes. Okay. If it's things like, you've got to do a cake with ruffles all around. Oh my God, have you ever done that? You can, if you're not sure how long something's going to take you, have a go and do a small section. Time how long it takes you to do that small section, and then multiply it by however many of those you'd need to do. That's sort of a way of doing it. Yeah, sort of dummy up a little section and just time yourself, and then you can get an idea. And of course, the more experienced you get, write all these down, all these costings and things, how long things take you. Have a list somewhere, or a data bank somewhere, so that your pricing can get more accurate as you go along. When I first started my wedding cakes, there were some things that I didn't really have a clue how long it would take me. But now, because I've done a few of them, I'm more on the ball with, oh yeah, covering that cake will take that long. Piping the royal icing will take that long. But that comes with experience. Okay. Then if you're delivering, you need to charge your travel. I go with the HMRC expenses. So I charge 45p a mile, and then I charge the time. So what did I put on my blog? So for example, if I'm delivering to an address 10 miles away, so that's 20 miles there and back. So that's £9 for that, plus my time. That would be about an hour, would it? 20 miles? No. However, whatever that time would be. I think it would be, actually. No, a bit less than an hour. But work out how long it would take you to drive that long. And yeah, don't sell yourself short with that either. When I do wedding cakes, sometimes, in fact, I think the furthest I've been from here, because I'm down in East Sussex, I delivered a cake to Crystal Palace Football, which was about 2 hours drive. So the travel cost was 4 hours, I think it was anyway, plus the time it took for me. So that the travel on that was quite quite big. So the cost of the cake came out quite big, but it was a sort of, I think the bride had forgotten to order a cake and was looking for someone who would do it fairly short notice, moderately short notice. So, so that's what I did. Oh, this is a good question from Rosalind. I'll pop it up here. That's all right. Don't worry about being late, my lovely. How did you originally come up with the price for those first few cakes, which you didn't know how long they would take to do? That's a very good question. When you start, it really is a case of you do your best guesstimate. And then from there, you alter it for the cakes going on. So for actually baking the cakes, you're going to have a fairly good idea, aren't you? Mixing up your cake and actually baking it in the oven. How long does it take you to mix up? You're going to have a fairly good idea with that. How long is it going to take you to cover a cake with fondant or buttercream? You've just got to give it your best shot at a guess, really. And then once you have more of an idea of how accurate that is, the next time you price something up, you can say, oh, I didn't charge enough for that next time. I must put a bit more time on for doing that. Okay, don't be afraid to alter your prices. And the other thing that I do, of course, which I always recommend, is do have a basic cost for basic cakes. So you haven't got to go from scratch every single time. Okay, so if you do celebration cakes, work out your cost for around 6 inch, around 7 inch, around 8 inch, whatever it is you do. You can get all the the flour, the eggs, the butter. You can work all those out. Yes, the prices of those change slightly, which is why it's important to do price reviews every so often to check that you're still in the right place for that. I as a matter of course will check ingredients as I go along, but every January, during the break, Christmas break, I will have a really good look at my prices and I'll put them up. I always put them up. Because I've got another year's experience apart from anything else. So it really is a case of best guesstimate, and then once you've done it, review it and evaluate it and think, yeah, that was about right, or no, I didn't have enough time for that, so I must put more on next time, and write it all down. Sorry, I can't be more precise than that, but that's sort of one of the ways to do it. The other way, of course, is to actually make something similar for a friend or family or staff room or whatever it is, and actually time yourself doing it, and sort of take notes and, how long does it take me to do this? And then you can, once you set up your pricing menus, you can then be a little bit more accurate. So either a guesstimate or a dummy run really is what I would suggest. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Sorry, I didn't really give you an answer there, but I hope that's helpful. Once you've got all your lists, so you've got your ingredients, you've included your overheads, your electricity, all those bits and pieces, your travel if you're traveling. Those are all your basic costs. You're very welcome. Those are all your basic costs, but of course, as a business, you need profit on top of that as well. So don't forget to add a percentage. So if your cake cost, you've added it all up and it comes to, I don't know, £40, let's say, for whatever it is you're making. You've then got to add profit on top of that. Okay, so if it's 25% profit on a £40 cake, that's going to be £10, isn't it? So then you've got to up it to £50, and that £10 is pure profit. Okay. Profit margins. It's a difficult one to recommend profit margins, but I certainly wouldn't go sort of 10% or lower. Try and keep it to sort of 20% above if you can. I work at about 40% at the moment, which is sort of keeps my prices where I want them to be. So don't forget your profit, because at the end of the day, you are a business. You are responsible for your business making money. If you think of it that way, actually, it sort of takes the heart at the heart. I hope I'm saying this right, but it saves you having to use your heart for things. You can just use your head for things. So this is my business. I'm responsible for my business making a profit. So this has got to happen. So whatever you're sort of, oh, but it makes me feel icky or whatever it is, you can forget that, because that's not your owner of your business speaking, is it? Okay. I hope that made sense. So have a basic cost for what it costs you to produce your basic things. And then you've got the sort of the foundations. If someone wants something slightly different, you can then take your basic and then add on any changes that they want or any additions that they want. And then you can, give them a fairly accurate price. Don't be rushed into pricing. I know that's a trap that some people fall into. If I'm on the phone or I'm having a consultation and the couple wants something that's not my standard, and they'll say, well, roughly, I'll say, well, if it was a plain cake, it would be this much, but you've asked for a bit more, so you're going to have to give me time to work out what that cost is going to be. Because if you give a guesstimate in that situation, the chances are when you actually add up, it's going to be more. And to actually then say, oh, actually, no, it's going to be £50 more than that, that's quite a lot of extra. So, if you need to, take your time to make sure that you're doing things accurately. Okay. There we go. So I think that's everything that I was going to say this evening. So there will be a blog out, hopefully tomorrow morning, with all this sort of written down for you. A couple of links in there as well. And there will be, I will be sending out my training again. I did a really in-depth pricing session last year in my membership. And I'm putting it together in a course package. So it goes into everything in real depth, and it's also got a spreadsheet that I show you in the video how to use, so you can really get to grips with pricing things. I'm hoping that'll all be ready for tomorrow morning. That's why I was waiting for the blog, so I'd have all my links ready. So if you're interested in that, have a look on the blog tomorrow. I'll put the link in the group as well, so you can find that if you want to have a look at that. Okay, so I hope that helps. If you've not got any questions now, I've just seen the time. I'm supposed to be on another call at 8, so I've got to go in a second. Ooh, I've just realised. But if you do have any questions, please pop them in the group. Tag me in, then I definitely get a notification and it doesn't pass me by, because sometimes these things do, don't they, on Facebook. I'm more than happy to answer questions about pricing. And hopefully we can, get everybody's business really accurate with their pricing, so that you really make a profit, so that you're really, your businesses can grow with all the profit that you're making. All right. So we will leave it there, my lovelies. Thank you so much for joining me. It's really lovely to have you all here. So don't forget, do ask in the group if you've got any questions. More than happy to answer them. And there's loads of people in there that will answer as well. I'll give their experience for you as well, but I'm happy to answer for you. Next week, what am I talking about next week? Oh, wedding cakes next week. Specifically about wedding cakes. I love my wedding cakes. So if you've got, or even if you've not thought about doing wedding cakes, come along and listen, because you might think, oh, actually, that's something I could do. So that's what I'm talking about next week. All right. So I will leave it there, my lovelies. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a lovely week. Happy baking, whatever it is you're doing. And I will see you next week. All right. You take care. Have a lovely week. Bye.